Sometimes relationships don't fall apart, they fall away. What once fit begins to feel misaligned, and we are left wondering, is this loss or is this awakening? Welcome to I Awaken, a space for conscious change, inner truth, and the courage it takes to live in alignment. I am Yusuf, and today I am joined by Samantha Kane, founder of Roots Wings Wellness, conscious guide, and certified holistic life coach who supports others in reclaiming well being freedom through shadow work and spiritual embodiment. In this episode, we are exploring relationship shifts, what they mean, why they happen, and how they often signal not failure but growth. With that, I welcome Samantha Kane to the show.
Hi, thank you for having me on.
Perfect. Samantha, many people believe that if a relationship changes, something must have gone wrong. What do you think we misunderstand about relationship shifts during personal growth?
Yeah, great question. So it feels like something went wrong because there's a lot of confusion around situations. We don't necessarily understand because we're coming from a place of emotion first. But
Okay.
as we dial back into some perspective and we get a bird's eye view on things, and most importantly is some time and space from a situation. That's really where we can have more of a good view into what's going on. Sometimes it
Mhm.
takes sometimes it takes years, but essentially it doesn't necessarily mean that something went wrong per se. It doesn't have to be a negative outlier. It could be that there was simply no alignment to begin with.
Mhm.
It could be that the frequency of the relationship either rose with us or fell out of resonance. It could be that because relationships often mirror our inner evolution, not our failures. So it could be a relationship that we just took alongside of us along our own journey. And that's why I love the saying, reasons, seasons, lifetime, just the sentiment behind it. Because if you put that in and plug it into any relationship, you can ask yourself honestly and truthfully, is this relationship
Mhm.
for a reason, for a season, or for a lifetime? And sometimes you don't know right away. And that's okay. Sometimes it does take a little bit of time to know, but there is a misconception about, um, it doesn't necessarily have to be a wrongdoing, or anything like that. It doesn't have to necessarily even be a negative thing. Really, at the end of the day, it's more about truth telling. It's about, what is this relationship supposed to show me? What are the lessons that I'm supposed to learn within this container of this paired relation, whether it's two people or even a group of people could be a relation, a community. Relationships can be in many different ways. So, not necessarily just like a one on one situation, but in any case, it really is in the eye of the beholder and the truth that you need to uncover for yourself.
That's true. And how does that misunderstanding keep people stuck in relationships that no longer reflect who they are?
Because if you stay stuck in a wound or a victim like mentality and you're not looking at the lesson, then you're missing the point. Because everybody has something to teach us because we are all mirrors for each other. And so whether a relationship it feels beautiful and safe and comfortable and happy and content and with pleasure, to be in and be around and to continue, or whether it's the exact opposite and it just feels like chaos or catastrophe, or you feel like a horrible pit in your stomach just at the thought of this person or group or community, whatever it is, either way, the misconception is going to lie within you, because whichever way a situation is going, whichever way a relationship is actually being, we have to look at it not from our own point of view, but the point of view. There's always a bigger picture outside of ourselves. If we set aside our emotions and we start looking at the motion of where this relationship went, why it went there, who we're being in these relationships, then we can get a better idea of how to move forward through it, whether we even want to or not.
Mm. It feels like we often equate consistency with success, even when it causes authenticity.
Yes, that's
Mm.
true.
Mm. When relationship starts to feel strained during inner work, what deeper patterns are usually being activated?
I think it's we get comfortable in a habitual process where we line up and sync up with certain behaviors that feel safe to us, even if they're out of bounds and out of alignment with us, even if they're something that's really misconstruing our life's happiness and joy, even if it takes us far away, we still awkwardly, in some strange way,
Mm.
tie ourselves up and into this post. Like we post up like we're horses on a rope and we just stand there and wait. But what are we waiting for is the question. Why are we allowing ourselves to stand there and take the heat and take suffering when we know that that's not the space that we need to be in? There are moments that suffering is okay to be in because it's showing us something. But if you're going to stand there so long that you're not allowing the truth to set you free, meaning that you're taking action to better align yourself into where you're supposed to go or start a new path from that place and that standpoint, then you're just doing more of the same. So these patterns, these behaviors, these are all here to show us. And always the question from there is, what do I do with this?
Mm.
Because am I am I being who I want to be here or not? And if not, then the next question is, so what's the next step? What can I do in a small way, one foot after another, to
Mm.
get me into a higher state of being?
And how does shadow work help people see what they have been unconsciously carrying into their connections?
Shadow work is the space that we actually look in the mirror and we look at our dark spots and patches, and we see where our shadows are facing into our lives.
Mm.
Where have we integrated these pieces of ourselves that, are not our best pieces of us? Maybe we've become an angry person, and so we've let angry flood through our relationships and different places of our lives. Maybe we're unhealthy with how we eat, and so that all that is, everything's connected, so it's going to parlay into other things. Like maybe you're not going to feel so happy because you haven't been eating well and you're not nourishing yourself and getting proper nutrition. So whichever habit, whichever pattern or behavior that we have that we need to work on, if we're not honest with ourselves, then we're not going to be able to get to a better place, to, like I was saying, or I last said a moment ago, a higher state of being, which is where we want to go, but you cannot have light without darkness because darkness is the key. Light is the door. So you have to get the key first. You have to understand yourself first. You have to
Mm.
allow yourself to yourself, face your darkness, fake face the pieces of yourself that, you know, you don't really like, that need change, and then you can move from there, and then you can actually use that key through that door and feel more lightness into your life and get a flood of light from there and watch the actual magic happen. But if you're going to stay stuck, not allowing yourself to feel through these things, then you can't get to the good stuff.
Yeah. Relationship shifts can bring guilt, grief, or fear of being misunderstood. What tends to help people stay grounded through that discomfort?
I think, well, again, the facing of oneself and being honest with yourself, and then also being honest with that other person. If
Mm.
you are not sharing from your heart, from a genuine, authentic space, and communicating clearly in that way, then that's an unfounded way to carry on in something. And it's like you're living a lie. And we don't want to come from that space because we're leading people on that way. And we're also leading ourselves on and into somewhere that you're just in this land of confusion. And it's a waste of time, it's a waste of energy, it's a waste of space, it's a waste of your brilliance that you are. And we get so stuck in comfortability of the uncomfortability that we forget that there's better and that we can feel better, we can do better, that there is a wonderful part of you that you're avoiding and you can't get to because you're allowing this. So, unless you're going to communicate properly to people and be brave, let people go. The people that you don't resonate with anymore, it's okay. Everything has an expiration. It's okay to let people, places, and things go when the time is up. And you know when the time is up because your gut tells you, your heart tells you, your brain says, I don't know, I don't know, I don't know. But we have to listen to our gut. The gut is the one, the instinct is the one, the inner knowing is the one. It's the space that tells you everything you need to know, but we shun away, we shut it down, and we don't listen. And then when we do this, we forego all the beauty of our life's gifts. So in order to have better relationships, have clarity, be surrounded by people that we really feel connected with in a divine way, in a safe way, in a joyous way. Um, People, places, and things that bring us into our higher selves and align us in that way. That is where the magic is. That's what we want to surround ourselves with. So we must be communicating clearly to get to this space.
And how do you support clients in choosing alignment without hardening their hearts?
Ooh, I love that. It's an ease in to everything I do with my clients. So I don't like anything to be abrupt or abrasive because that's just not even how my personality is. I like people to feel supported and feel that whatever they're going into a newer space, moving away from something that is hardened and difficult and challenging. I like them to feel a sense of support, a sense of structure, a sense of lightheartedness, a sense of comfort and ease in the discomfort. So it's kind of like a dance because it's a little bit of an ebb and flow like an ocean. You're reverting back into your old patterns. Uh-oh, don't wanna go there. Okay, we're gonna release that and start again. Because a lot of people will self-sabotage when they are going through a new growth experience. So, the best way is to have support, whether it's from, a life coach or, some type of therapy or whatever type of person you're working with from a professional standpoint, or just a trustworthy friend or family member, people that you connect with on a level where you don't feel judged and you feel safe and you feel like you can be open and you can be yourself. That's the place you want to lead from and that's a place you want to be connected with because then your greatest work can come out of that. If you're working with people that you do feel judged by and there's a disconnect, you're not going to be able to flourish fully. It's like you're still going to have some stagnancy there. So that's why it's so important to not necessarily do things alone. We can do a lot on our own, but it's also a beautiful thing to be in relationship with people where we help each other
Mm.
and we guide each other and we support each other and there's love there and it just feels open and spacious and that's when you can have real true growth.
Yeah. Samantha, for listeners who feel resonant with your work and want to explore conscious relationship growth further, where can they find you?
So I have a website. It is rootswingswellness.com, where I offer a free guide of 5 powerful well-being tips. It's a wonderful guide I worked really hard on to offer real, true, practical ways for people to work on at their own pace, and, it's very helpful. I've done it myself. And I also on Instagram at Roots Wings Wellness.
Okay. And to all our listeners, these links are in the show notes. Just go and check those out. Samantha, is there any last message that you want to leave us with?
Well, firstly, thank you so much for having me on. It's been lovely having this conversation. It's such an important one to have
Mm.
about relationships because we all are in relation. Not only, it doesn't matter the quantity of how many people you interact with and interface with on the daily, it's the quality. And moreover, and more importantly, it's the relationship that we have with oneself. And that's where everything comes from. It's the core of that. And if you take good care of yourself with your heart and align your soul and do everything in your power to help yourself stay in a higher self space and move through the emotions and just allow yourself to release things that are no longer meant for you, then you will align with all the things that are meant for you. So when we lose relationships, it's okay because we are creating space for new. And that's a beautiful thing to do for yourself. But lastly, just to really take good care of yourself. That's, like the saying where if an airplane's going down, you need your oxygen mask first type of situation before you can help others. So that's the idea.
Mm.
But thank you for having me on. I appreciate this conversation.
The pleasure is all mine. And thank you for being here with us on I Awaken. And if something stirred within you today, my listeners, trust that moment. Awakening often begins in the spaces that feel uncertain. Until next time, stay present and stay true.